Welcome back to another exciting podcast on Algoma Radio, The Aura. It is February 22nd, 2014. My name is John Natali.
And my name is Caleb Smichael, and we are your hosts, bringing you the matters that matter to you. This is your voice, your music, and your aura. Today we got something very special lined up for you today. Today is our Black History Month edition of the radio station, and the Aura is very happy to bring this here to you today. We've got some great stuff lined up for you. We've got, first of all, the events that's coming up on the 28th, and we're going to highlight that during this podcast, as well as go over some heroes in our minds of some African-American Canadians and, well, people abroad who've really done a lot to help in the cause of furthering cultural and bridging cultural gaps. Today, in the booth with us, we actually have one of these good people I have aforementioned. His name is Dave Mornix, and he will be in the booth to answer some questions on Black History Month, give us some more details about the event coming up, and stuff like that. No, I shouldn't say stuff like that because it sounds so general, but, you know, he's here to help us out, and you'll see that very soon. Dave, please say hello to the audience at home.
Hey. I'm glad to be here. I'm really excited and looking forward to how this unfold. Black History Month is very important time of the year for most people within the black culture. So
Yes, sir.
I'm looking forward to see what questions you got for me.
Absolutely, and we are excited to ask you those questions. It's going to be a good podcast. Now,
Yeah.
John, could you start us off with the first question we have for Dave?
I definitely can. All right, so starting off, we have a question for you. What does Black History Month mean to you?
Wow, that's a powerful question. For me personally, Black History Month provides me with an opportunity to share and to learn as well about, the experiences, contributions, and achievements peoples of African ancestry has made to Canada and, a matter of fact, to the world. Black History Month means many things. But, when I think of Black History Month, I think of people like Mandela, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X,
Yes.
Rosa Parks, W.D. Du Bois, Jean Augustine, Frederick Douglass, and movements like the Civil Rights Movement. So, for me, those are the things that come to mind when I think of Black History Month.
And those are very powerful and monumental places in our history. And these people have done so much for the furthering of, well, black people. And I just love that. Well, we'll talk more about that further on. Now, our second question for you right now, Mr. David Mornix, is this. What are some cultural issues? We're going to bring this a little closer to home on this question. What are some cultural issues and things you see in need of change here most at Algoma University?
I like that question because I am a very active person within the Algoma community as a whole.
This is true.
And I'm really working hard as well from within the Algoma University campus to really, what I have noticed and what I would love to see. Some of the issues that I find, first of all, from my personal observation, is the lack of accountability and responsibility by students. I kind of get the feeling that students depend on the institution to move things forward. And to me, that's disappointing. Because to me, if you're here gaining your education, I personally feel, the reason why I am so active, I feel it's a responsibility for you to do something. I don't think you should come here and get educated and sit and wait for something to happen or cry that something is not happening.
Yeah.
And so when I talk to a lot of people, I get the feeling that they're crying things are not happening, but they're not doing anything about it.
Yeah.
So for me, that's accountability. Because when you gain accountability and say, this is not happening right, you have the responsibility as educated individual to do something about it.
Yeah.
And especially, I'm going to call out my black brothers and sisters. You need to be more accountable when you're here spending whatever the price is, $50,000, $40,000 on education.
Yeah.
I think that's, for me, is some of the issues that, I think that we have as individual has immediate control over addressing.
So if you're not doing anything, you're the one to blame.
Absolutely. I'm in my email, Hotmail, my tagline is from Gandhi: be the change you want to see in the world.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to wait on an institution to tell me that I should be active.
Yeah.
Or a policy, or a law, or a negative situation.
You should be active because you want to be active, because you want to get that stuff done.
Well, you know what? When I think of the sacrifice, my brothers and sisters have paid. When you think of slavery, when you think of Malcolm X, when you think of our brother Mandela who just died, right? When you think of the sacrifice those guys have made, I don't think it's an option. I don't think you should have an option to continue to carry on the legacy that these guys have put forward. So much in our life when we look around, so much fantastic example to follow of being active, and especially being educated. You have the tool to be engaged and to be accountable in a good way.
I read a quote recently. I'm going to paraphrase it here, and it goes like this: It's a horrible thing when good people do nothing. And
That's a great quote.
That's
when
fantastic.
when bad, well, not bad people, but when people won't step up to the plate and take on initiative for themselves, and then blame others when nothing gets done, it's sad to see. Last year at the forum, actually no, we'll go into that later. I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. But thank you, Dave. That's powerful.
All right, so we're going to get into the next question here. Where is it? Okay, so how could we bring some of this change about? So with the last question.
Okay. So, well, we have a local group here. I want to talk about that because this is I think it's a great example of how you can be involved. We have a local group here in the Sioux, not in the Algoma University, but within the community, called ACANO. It's ACCANO. It stands for African, Caribbean, Canadian Association of Northern Ontario. You can always send us an email at acano@hotmail.com. But ACANO is a great place or organization to get started because it's an open club. It's not a black people club.
Right.
If you look at our members, the variety is spreads out tremendously.
Right.
But to answer your question more directly, I believe it has to be collaboration. I think collaboration is the key. I think you have to find a way. I think we all, no matter which group you're in, or no matter which minority groups you're in, I think we all have issues that merit. And I think there's a lot of opportunities that you can collaborate and find a club like ACANO or anything, or maybe start one yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
To move things that, whether it's a concern or a passion, to move those things forward. It's really that allows you to get involved. And so like what you guys are doing here is like another great example of that. So for me, I would say collaboration and really get started on moving your passion or that thing that interests you forward.
Now, in the last question, I said I'd talk about this later, and right now is that later. At last year's forum, I remember we spoke about how at our university currently, a lot of the groups, like if you came from China, you'd stay with Chinese people. If you came from Canada, you stay with Canadian people. If you came from Africa, you stay with African people. And like everybody was talking about, if you came from Spain or Brazil, you stay with those people. Everybody was talking about how could we integrate and get those people together. And based on what you just said there, I think that's probably one of the keyest things, and that's to find things that they as an individual are interested in. Starting a club that is passionate, like that you're passionate about, and then you'll find other people, no matter what race, who are passionate about that same thing.
Well, to support you there, Caleb, I totally agree with what you're saying, because as a people, let's remove all the identity and the culture and the stuff. As a people, we have things that we have in common, that we are passionate about, or that might be upsetting to us, right?
Yeah.
So on those grounds, no matter what color you are, whether you're white, black, brown, Hispanic, native, whatever, there are issues or passionate things that we can come together on. And that's the reason why I believe that collaboration is a massive piece within that we can get together on some things that we both are interested in.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Love that. Okay, let's move on to the next
Next question.
the next question. What are some black people who inspire? Actually, no, sorry. That is the question after that. The question I have for you right now: what are some ways people can get involved currently? That's already standing right now.
Well, as I mentioned earlier on ACANO, right, I want to mention that again because I am very active within the community. I'm a member of LIP, which is Local Immigration Partnership. I work really closely with the Sioux Community Career Center,
Yeah.
really closely with the college. And Akano, I think, is a great starting point. Or places like LIP is a great starting point, because at least you're able to connect yourself to something that is already connected within the community.
Yeah.
So it brings immediately, as you join or you come to be a part of it, it brings to you something that is already connected.
Yeah.
So the collaboration piece can really happen.
Yeah.
The connection could happen really quickly.
Yeah.
But my brother, that only happen if you're getting out and getting involved.
Yeah.
The thing that I find, I can tell you from being an active, very active member of Kano and lived for a long time, it is such hard work to get especially young people and university students and college students involved. I mean, and I hear they tell me all the time that they're busy. I mean, I'm busy too.
Yeah.
Right? But again, it's back to if you are responsible and you're accountable, busy is not an option. Right? It's a responsibility.
It's a responsibility.
Yeah.
Right.
I caught that. Before we move on, I'd like to take this time to put a pause in our segment, because we'd like to play a speech by Martin Luther King.
All right.
We took this clip and we are going to play it for you guys today, just because it's a pivotal point in the movements to get Black people to the point that we're at right now, the civil rights movement. The speech that you're about to hear, it really helps us grow as a people, and we wanted to play it for you, especially since this is Black History Month.
Okay, so here you go.
Some of you have come fresh from narrow jail cells. Some of you have come from areas where your quest for freedom left you battered by the storms of persecution and staggered by the winds of police brutality. You have been the veterans of creative suffering. Continue to work with the faith that unearned suffering is redemptive. Go back to Mississippi. Go back to Alabama. Go back to South Carolina. Go back to Georgia. Go back to Louisiana. Go back to the slums and ghettos of our northern cities. Knowing that somehow this situation can and will be changed. Let us not wallow in the valley of despair. I say to you today, my friend, so even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
Okay, so that was a clip from Martin Luther King's speech, and we're going to go right back into our questions. And so, Dave, why do we celebrate Black History Month?
Well, you know what? That's a good question. And I think I got to answer that question for myself, because I don't think that I can speak for everyone on why they celebrate it. But for me, it's definitely an honor to celebrate Black History Month, and an absolute responsibility. And as I said or mentioned earlier on, when I personally think back of the sacrifices, so much people have made for provide me even with the opportunity of having this conversation with you,
Right.
even having the opportunity of being in school.
Right.
When you think of Jim Crow segregation laws, right? When you think of apartheid in South Africa, right? So for me, all of those things, I take them as not just as a conversation, but as a serious responsibility to make sure that I am doing my part and I am stepping up to the plate, so to speak, and making sure that I am a part not just of the celebration, but to highlight and to be actively, hopefully, be a light to say we need to be doing this more, we need to be more responsible, we need to carry on the great work that these people have done.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's it's not only bringing the work that we've done to this point forward, but it's honoring those who have died
That's right.
to enhance these rights for us.
Exactly.
So my next question for you today, Mr. Dave Mornix, is this. We've spoken about why we celebrate, but I want to get a little more specific in this. What are some Black people who inspire you?
Oh,
And
my.
if you can extrapolate, maybe tell a story or something, that'd be cool too.
Well, you know what? I love this question because, as maybe you can tell, I'm absolutely involved and engaged in this kind of stuff. I mean, I think it's very important. But it's also extremely difficult to pick one. Actually, it's not a fair question, Caleb, right? because to pick one is actually unfair. When I think of present moment, I think of the president. I think of Obama, right? I mean, that's an example that I've talked about, like back in the day. If you understand what the meaning of slavery literally was stripping away the humanity. Yeah, you didn't have an option. It's not a choice, right?
Yeah.
So to be able to sit today and see a Black president, right? That
Amazing.
for me is profound, right?
Absolutely.
I used to say, and I used to hear people say that we will never live to see a Black president. So for me, to be alive to see a Black president, that's profound. I think about people like Oprah, right? The contribution that she has made, right?
Yeah.
In my house, however, it's the M's, right? It's
Who are
Martin,
Okay.
Malcolm,
Where-
and Mandela. I have in my house 3-piece painting. And those are the guys that are in my house.
The three
And just
M's.
because I'm Monix as well, right? We can add,
Oh.
we can add that M as well to that, right?
Dave Mornix.
right? But for me, if I had to give my life,
Yeah.
and I had to sacrifice and say, and you said to me I have to pick one, it will be Martin Luther King Jr. And as the speech that you heard that played earlier on, I remember as a kid growing up at home in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Yeah.
On a coconut plantation,
Okay.
we had those little turn-on radios, you know what I mean? It's not like
Yeah.
the fancy stuff we have now.
Yeah.
And the radio station would play little clips throughout the day in January, because Martin Luther King birthday is in January. Right?
Yes.
They would play little clips of that "I Have a Dream" speech, and I remember every cell in my body used to light up, and it still does even when I read or hear the speech.
Yeah.
And I find that it always perpetuates me to move forward doing something positive. That for me is how profound and how powerful the "I Have a Dream" speech is. But let's look at it from a Canadian context.
Okay.
If we want to look at it from a Canadian context, I mean, I would look at people like Viola Davis Desmond. But really, I really want to take a look at, and I really want to talk about Senator Annie Cools,
Okay.
who was born in 1943 in Barbados, the West Indies. She was educated at Queen's College Girls' School in Barbados, Montreal, Thomas Darcy McGee, sorry about my pronunciation, high school, and at McGill University, from which she holds a Bachelor of Arts.
Sweet.
Senator Cools is a senator from Ontario, recommended by Prime Minister Pierre Elliott Trudeau, recommended by Trudeau, right? She was summoned to the Senate in January 1984. She became the first Black person in the Senate of Canada. She also is the first Black female senator in North America. In June 2004, after 20 years as a Liberal senator, She briefly joined the Conservative government, but now she has no party affiliation. For me, when you put it in a Canadian context,
Yeah.
these are the people who, for me, are shining examples
Yeah.
of what any one of us are capable of.
Yeah.
But in context, Black History Month, for Black sisters and brothers to look up and say, here was some shining example. If they did it, you can do it. They absolutely. If you don't know who Viola Davis Desmond is, she was born in 1914 to 1965. She was born in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Cool. She was an African Canadian who ran her own beauty parlor and beauty college in Halifax.
Whoa.
So we have a lot of African American who have made significant contribution to Canadian society. Another a great one, I think, that a lot of people might not know, and if you don't know, you need to find these things out, brother.
Yeah.
Right? The first Black chief of police in Canada, Devin Clunis, is Jamaican ancestry.
Yeah, man.
Right? Exactly. Right? He first wanted to join the Winnipeg police service in 1987, where he has performed all manner of duties over the course of 25 years, including patrol, traffic duty, investigation, and community relations. So when we think about, even the Black railway porters and all of those guys, the contribution, when we think of Acreville in Nova Scotia, and all of those contributions, that we have a lot of Black people who have made significant contribution to the Canadian society. So we have a lot of great examples
I love
to follow.
Yeah.
Just to mention a few.
Yeah.
I mean, I can, I like talking, so we can do this all day.
Yeah.
That's
You
amazing.
can go all day with all this.
so many times I find people, like, we just kind of grow up with stereotypes that we're supposed to fit this certain mold.
Mm-hmm.
As well, I know as a Black man, there's a lot of gangsters,
Mm-hmm.
just that type of stereotype.
Mm-hmm.
And having these people as real life examples, doing great things, becoming judges, becoming senators,
Mm-hmm.
just doing, committing to something, doing it well,
Mm-hmm.
and just being a great example for the people to follow. It inspires me.
Great role models.
Well,
Yeah.
Caleb, I
Great
can say, I think that you is already a role model for this thing that you do, because you can help to move some of these names that we talk about forward, to bring them, highlight them, right? Because I think that's one of the challenges that we have, right? Young Black people, especially, I don't think have access or aware of a lot of these type
Role
of
models,
people.
for sure.
I mean, if another person that you should check out if you don't know who he is the Honorable Lincoln M. Alexander. You got to get into I'll recommend, there is a website called where you can access all of this information.
What's
If
that?
you go to the government website,
Okay.
which is cic.gc.ca. Lots of the things that we talk about is highlighted right there. There's a Black History Month page that is set up. Highlight that the government take the opportunity to highlight some of these contributions of these significant Black Canadians who have really been active and make some contribution to it.
I like that.
Yeah,
That really means a lot to me. So definitely, viewers, take that website, look it up. If you
Go
are
check it out.
anybody, but Black people, just look at who's come before you and who's paved the way, I could say.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to be too corny or metaphorical, but literally paved the way so that you can get further. And it's inspiring. I love it. The next question we got for you live today, Dave, is actually one a lot, close to the future. It's in a week from now. There's an event happening on the 28th. That's next Friday. And that is the Black History Month event, the dinner we have going on in the school. Got some stuff mixed in there, some cultural elements to it. And I want you to tell me about that event. And if I were to go, what could I expect?
Well, first of all, the event is on the 28th, which is next Friday. And it's we're going to have some food.
Ooh.
Some great food. That's an important piece of business, right?
That's a peg.
And
Res kids, there's food.
I saw some great conversation of individuals being committed to doing things like poetry,
Yes.
dance.
Yes.
You got to have music, and I hope there's a variety of music, because I'm from the Caribbean, and music, we like a party.
Yeah, some
right?
calypso.
So the party, the
Soca.
calypso. I want some soca. I want some reggae. I want some African music.
Yeah.
I want everything in there, right?
Yeah.
So you expect to get that. We are having a speaker as well,
Okay.
which would be a surprise.
I did not. Okay,
That's
cool,
right.
Cool.
So we're going to work that in there. So I think I'm really actually impressed after all of the hard work to get this together.
Yeah.
That to see the support of students who have actually signed up. So just remember, people, I got your name and your number, and I got where you live if you signed up and you didn't come out to support. Right? So make sure that you come out and support, because I understand it would be a fashion show, and I heard rumors, Mr. Caleb, that you'll be doing some poetry.
Yes.
And you'll be a part of the fashion show. So
Yes.
I'm excited about the event, because I think that this is an excellent opportunity for us to celebrate, as we were talking about.
Absolutely.
But also a way to contribute to, what Black History Month means to us. And then we can take it and make a nice twist from an Algoma perspective and say, we are at Algoma, this is what we do.
Yeah.
This is what we bring.
I
Enjoy
love
some
that.
of
Now, you
our
said it's
food.
the 28th. Did you actually say what time it was? I don't know if you.
Yeah,
did you say what time it
it's doors are open at 6 in the evening. We'll be at the Speakeasy, and
Okay.
we want to have the place for the whole night, because we like to party. You can't,
Yeah, you can't
you
put a
can't give
time
us
limit.
2 hours,
Yeah.
right? You can't give us 2 hours. It's not enough time, right? And you know what? In the Caribbean, we say no matter what rain, sun, or shine, the party must go on. So in Canada, no matter what snow, storm, hail, or whatever, we still will party.
was? Yep.
A little twist, but the story's still the same here.
Yeah.
And just logistically, if I were to come, can I bring friends from outside of school?
Is it only for Algoma
Well,
students?
if someone said to you to come to a party and you can't bring anyone, you shouldn't go.
Yeah.
So absolutely, bring as much people as you want to bring. Let's just make this. And actually, ideally for me, what I would love to see, Caleb, you are you didn't make it to our Black History Month event at the college.
Oh no, sorry.
So Akano, as a group, is a community group. Actually, our theme for Akano, our tagline is bringing people together. So our goal is always, as one of your questions on how we bridge those gaps, is always to bridge that gap, no matter what age, gender, culture you are, is bringing people together. And so a great example is when we had our event on the 9th
Yeah.
at the college. I think we had like maybe 120, 130 people there.
Yeah.
And it was exciting to see so many different cultures there. There was easy 7 to 8 different cultures. So that's what I mean when I say that. Bring as much people as you can, and as much different people. Tell them, come, let's just rock the place.
Yeah.
Right? Let's just
Let's rock the
I think
place.
my goal is, when I get involved in these things, I really want to destroy those bridges, those blocks that has been built up, right?
Yeah.
Where even within diversity, we have the Spanish club over here, the Chinese club over here, and that type of stuff. For me, I feel and I see a sense of segregation within that. So when I am a part of anything, I always want to use the opportunity to get all of those people within the same space. So I say, bring everybody, and come dress up in your cultural gowns
Yeah.
if you have those, or cultural dress, because let's add some color and some energy
Yeah.
and some vibe to the joint.
Yeah.
And really have a good time. That's what it's all about.
Awesome.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Woo! I love that.
Yeah.
I just had to scream. Just let it out a little bit. Dave, thank you so much for coming on the show with us today, answering our questions with such candid honesty. I very much appreciate it, and we've learned a lot, me and John.
Yeah.
Would you say so?
I would say so. We have so much fun.
Yeah.
Having you over here.
Yeah.
And we were talking before the thing, and I just loved talking to you. It was great. It was actually amazing.
Well, John, I appreciate the conversation that we have too, and I get energized when I see young people like you guys that are engaged, that are actively involved, and that are looking to do something to make a difference, and that inspires me. So you are my inspiration today. I'm
Thank you.
grateful that you invited me to be a part of it, and I hope it's not the last time. Right?
Oh, no.
No.
We enjoyed your company.
My message to everyone out there who is listening to the show: make sure you pass the word along.
Yeah.
And the key is, stop your whining, stop your complaining. Right? According to Gandhi quote, which I live by, be the change you want to see in the world. get up and do something about
Man,
it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Black History Month, people. The month of February. We're so happy to bring this special broadcast to you. Remember to go out to the event on the 28th of February. That is next Friday. It's going to be a great time. Lots of celebration. Wear your cultural garments. Let's have a good time together.
Yeah.
We're wrapping up this interview with some song. Just
Break out into
Dave, thank you for coming in the booth with us today.
Thank you very
Pleasure.
much.
Pleasure.
Okay, so that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for tuning into this very special Algoma U Radio The Aura. Catch us next Sunday for another exciting podcast. I'm John.
And my name is Dave.
And my name is Caleb. Stay true, Algoma U.
Wow. That was